Did he? Or didn't he? That is the question. A couple of weeks back I spoke about the amount of rain that we'd had and showed you some footage of the water beneath my feet and also pulling around the wheels of the bus. Well, we'll get to that in a moment. I did forewarn about the possibility of having to put a keel on the bus and call it a houseboat. But it was tongue-in-cheek, and I never really expected that the bus would actually sink into the mud. And I did say in the first video that we anticipate to encounter some challenges along the way. But I didn't ever really expect one of those challenges to be that we might have to undertake a recovery operation. So let's get out the big guns. Let's do the math. The Troopy weighs 2,800 kilograms and the bus weighs 3,800 kilograms, and the bus wheels are sunk in the mud. I asked the question earlier, did he or didn't he get bogged? But the question now is, will he or won't he be able to get it out? We'll get to that in a moment. I did want a shout out to some of my new subscribers. Thank you so much. And in particular, those who have taken the time and trouble to ask some questions. One of the questions was regarding retaining the air conditioning system, which I spoke about, because many people take theirs out. Each one of us, I suppose, builds a different bus according to our own particular needs. In my case, the air conditioner works, and I tend to travel a lot more than I do tend to stay in one place. So for me, of course, having a cooling system while I'm driving is very, very important. But I do appreciate that for many people, they might travel only, relatively short distance and stay in places for longer times, in which case it's less important, I suppose, that they have, a cooling system while they're traveling, and more important to have one when they're stopped. But I do tend on installing either a split system or a rooftop air conditioner. So I think, I hope I'll have the best of both worlds. Some people take them out too for weight, but I don't think they're particularly heavy. Maybe 40, 50, even 100 kilograms is not a great deal in terms of weight. I spoke about this the other day. A single 90-litre water tank is 90 kilograms, so that could easily weigh as much as, as a complete air conditioning system, including the compressors, etc. Now, some of the new subscribers too are people who are doing bus builds themselves. And I mentioned earlier in the very first video that I learned a lot from people such as Andrew and Carolyn at Traveller's Suite, from Gillian and Jeremy at One for the Road, and also from Diane at A Girl, a Dog and a Bus. But my newer subscribers are people who are just starting on their bus builds, so the Longshores, that's Ricky Longshore, and also Deep Walks and Long Talks, which is Scott and Betty. Welcome aboard. And a couple of the comments, which I mentioned, of course, were from Joe from Aussie Backyard and Nick Rogers, who are themselves just getting started with their bus builds. Thanks so much and welcome aboard. And someone else I wanted to do a shout out to also was, and I suppose there's a particular reason for this, and that is Glenn from the Bella Rosa story. Now, Glenn is an older fellow like me who has completed his bus build, and I'll put a link to his build in the description. Many of the people who are doing bus builds are younger folk, and that's, I suppose, for a couple of reasons we see more of them. One being, of course, is that it's pretty tough on an old bod to to undertake a bus build because there's a fair amount of labour involved, very labour intensive. But equally, I think it also is to do with the fact that we're less inclined to pick up a camera and film what it is that we were doing, given our generation just did not have access to the kind of technology that's available today. And a lot of young people, of course, grew up with it. So they're more likely to film their build than we old-timers are. So I suppose, in a way, this is a bit of a blow for the old-timers. I'm trying to document it all, but I am fairly comfortable with the technology, having been a photographer, albeit film, back in the 80s, and picked up on digital technology from when it was first around. I've actually got an old digital camera, video camera, which is a Sony PD-170p, but I'm not sure whether it's still actually functional. It's sat in its case now for a number of years since we started using DSLRs for video, because they're so compact and because they've got interchangeable lenses and because they're so versatile and small, particularly the Panasonic Lumix, which is the one that I use. It's a very small mirrorless DSLR, interchangeable lenses, but very, very small, and they've packed a lot of technology into a very, very small case. I was actually picked up on the fact that in my last video that I was sitting in a haunted car. Directly behind me was Casper the Friendly Ghost. But that's bloody ridiculous. Of course, everyone knows that Casper has a white sheet and not a blue one. Anyway, let's see how we go with this recovery. A successful recovery. One of my favourite YouTube channels is Matt's Off-Road Recovery. Now, Matt is in Utah, in the United States, and he only started his recording of his videos 2018, I think so, 4 years ago, and he has well over 1 million subscribers now. So, very, very popular channel, and I'll put a link to his channel in the description. If you haven't yet had a look, it may not be for you, but what I like about it is that it's fairly relaxed. The people are all pretty amiable and engaging, and look, everyone enjoys watching a challenge of some sort. But I never expected that I'd be matching him with my own recovery, and I certainly did not anticipate that I'd be making this video. Thanks so much for joining me this week. Look forward to seeing you again next week. And in the meantime, hit the like and subscribe button and have yourselves a damn good week.